Hello illustrators, this is Rebecca with your chapbook exercise. So once you've gone through the first 4 steps of the instructions that are posted for the exercise, this is what your page will look like. So you have your layer 1 locked here, and if you go down to the bottom you're going to add a new layer and it'll appear on top of your layer 1. And the reason why we're locking it is so that this picture doesn't move around while we're trying to use our pen tool over it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the pen tool. And the instructions say to start by tracing one of the black shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. The way you want to look at this page is that all of these shapes are independent of each other. So you're not going to go around and trace the outside of this entire woman and her dress, because that would just be one giant blob, and that's not what we're trying to accomplish here. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this area right here. And I'm going to treat this as one of my shapes. As I'm tracing, I notice that I have my fill turned on. So I'm going to go down here and turn that off so that I only have a stroke. And I mentioned in the instructions that picking a bright color will really help a lot here. I'm going to zoom in some more just to make my life easier. And when using the pen tool, you're anticipating the direction that your curve is going. So I know it's going to come over here, but when I click and pull those handles, I get that beautiful curve. And if it's not perfect the first time, it's no problem. As you learned in chapter 5, you can go ahead and go back in and edit the points very easily. I'm going to swing this around here and pull it this direction, bring it up here. And remember, this is an exercise. This isn't an assignment that you're turning in. So it will take a while, but it doesn't need to take 4 days or anything to complete. Okay, so I closed that shape. So now when I fill it with black, I know that none of the color will get cut off or spill out into an area that I don't want it to spill out in. And I can go ahead and get started on a new shape. So here's a simple one. Click on my first point, click and drag a little bit on my second point. To create a bend, I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key, and it'll make that point turn into a corner point. Same with up here. I'm going to click and drag to get this line to the previous line where I want it to go, and then hold down Option and I can bend, swing that handle around, and then go back to this guy, then finish it up, click and pull, and end that one off. Very nice. So as you continue, you'll notice that you, in your layers 2 area over here in the layers panel, that each path is creating almost like its own layer. If you're familiar with Photoshop, it's a similar idea. This one just kind of holds it all in little groups. So if you wanted to, if you're comfortable with the idea of layers, you might want to make this woman in the front all layer 2, and then create a layer 3 for the woman in the background, create a layer 4 for the text in the background, you know, that kind of thing. But if you're uncomfortable with that idea, you can build it all in layer 2 and then just, you know, dig through and try to find things that way. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yes, okay. So as you're working on these layers, the text layers, obviously they're going to fall behind this woman in the front. So you'll need to pull those layers, reorder them below each other. I hope that's making sense to you. I think that you had some experience with that from last week's exercises and lessons. So if it doesn't make sense when you get to that point, just send me a message and I'm happy to walk you through it. But I think you guys can all do it, and I know you're going to do a great job. Thanks for listening.